Welcome to Anonymous Bites Back, episode 84. Are we at 84? I'm pretty sure we're at 84. That's what I put into the title.
That sounds right.
We have some stuff to talk about this week. Some stuff on the back channel, some stuff that's not very obvious, and some stuff that the news isn't even covering. But I hate to bring up a dead horse, but I do want to bring up the Vegas shootings again. It is kind of dying out of a lot of the news streams because what the news and media say, they move on to the next big thing. Yeah, somebody's already laughing. That's okay.
Who's laughing?
I don't know. We always get laughed at. But like what I was seeing, like when I was seeing the original videos, of what was going on, and I was definitely saying, what a lot of people have been saying, that there was more than one shooter, and we have the analysis back from, what was that, the Uber driver? Remember that it was like an Uber driver, correct? Or it was a taxi driver?
Yeah, it was a taxi cab or an Uber. Yeah, but there's a good video that gets chopped up with had a lot of the gunfire in it.
Yeah,
Especially one clip.
yeah, and there was remember there was like a video that you showed me where they were doing an analysis that there's definitely 3 guns getting shot off at the same fucking time. You know.
Yeah, I've had army guys said that too.
Yeah.
He'd been in combat. He's just like he pointed out right off the bat.
Yeah, and then I was also following up on some reports coming from what was that, one of the guys, I think he was shot in the leg, and he said that that he was shot from somebody in the crowd. And there's been more than one person saying that. I think there was another girl that said the same thing, that somebody was shooting in the crowd as well.
Yeah, they got very shallow angle. It couldn't have come from an elevated from the back. They were like laying down, getting hit from an odd direction. It was inside. There's people inside. You know what? You also notice how, like, as the firing starts, the stage lights swing around, go full bright, illuminating the crowd.
Yeah.
It's just it's perfect, man. It's perfect.
Yeah, it was even even weirder. I was talking to you, I think, like earlier in the week. Robert Steele, an ex-CIA, well, he worked for the CIA, was even calling this a false flag. But he was literally saying, like, I don't agree with everything that he says. He was literally saying, upon an interview on the radio station that, or radio, he doesn't do radio. It's internet radio. Um, that it was that even the victims weren't even real, which I know it's not true. There were real people that were really hurt, but
Did he say that?
yeah,
He didn't think it was.
he was saying
Oh,
because
come on.
yeah, he was saying because there were no videos of pools of blood, and he says that I know what a pool of blood looks like, and if there were if people were actually getting shot, you would see pools of blood. Well, a lot of videos were not taken near the kill zone, I think, which is in the upper right corner, closest to the Mandalay Bay. But there wasn't a lot. There wasn't a lot of people recording from over there, from the videos that I've seen.
Well, there's some out on Live Leak. I mean, he needs to look a little harder because they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's where he goes off the rails.
He's not looking far enough.
He should know about. He should know if it's a false flag or not because he says he's run them. So, he would know how it would look from the other side.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, I mean,
I don't know which ones he's run.
I mean, this is also the same guy that talked about open source intelligence. Like I don't know, he's a little out there, man.
Isn't it like open source software? You
Yeah,
just like go to GitHub.
Yeah. He said what would take down the United States government would be like an army of bloggers and reporters. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make a hell of a lot of logic.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, this was an old video from some sort of like convention that he had. I think it was like in 2010. That's kind of old. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess our founders lied to us. I mean, they seemed to be indicating that there was going to be a Second Amendment that needed to be involved, in doing that. But I guess What did you say? Bloggers
Yeah, he was talking about how
and what else is it?
bloggers, and like an army of
Oh shit,
bloggers and
man!
reporters. Well, like there
Oh
was a lot
fuck, I
of
didn't know that.
that shit going on towards the revolution, but that was just spreading information. That's not
Hey,
necessarily
nothing
gonna.
wrong with
Well, that's how
yeah,
World
nothing
War
wrong with
II was
spies
finished
and
off. But
Yeah, these are the same people that spent what was it, $2 billion on what did they spend it? What was it on remote viewing? They were using.
oh yeah, yeah.
The government, the CIA really invested money on using psychics to get targets for assassins. I'm not joking. They really wasted our money on that.
No, well, you better not laugh because they actually got a lot of good intel off of that. It works.
uh,
Some of them are good at it.
I guess it's always possible.
That's what's weird.
It's always possible that that you could probably, I remember hearing about it from one of my science teachers, in college, saying that it's kind of possible that that it could be a natural evolution of having a sixth sense in terms of nature and how it would be some sort of a survival function that we don't quite understand, or could be an evolution of the human species, something we just don't quite understand at this point. But
well, we do stem cell research now, so it's possible to do anything. I mean, breeding babies in a test tube and they could be also manipulating the gene.
uh, and I think Lucas is saying, I have a theory to share on the Vegas incident. I, yeah. The more I'm going through it, uh, like I said, this there really were people, but it's leaning more towards uh, a false flag operation, and I'm already
Well,
seeing.
it has,
Yeah, I'm already
yeah,
seeing
it
every.
has.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it has the final, part of what's needed to be called that, and that's, the act of terrorism with some political gain. Well, the political gain is this bill, right? No sooner did all this happen, well, they must have had that thing hot off, pretty much ready to
Yeah,
go. Just need to copy it, pre-written,
October
and
6th. October 6th, this shit went through the fucking Senate or the Congress. I can't.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
So there you go. So that's the full. Those are the things right there. It's an act of terrorism for a political motive or a political gain.
in
False
a
flag.
in a
There you go.
and in case our viewers aren't really up to par on what Congress had just passed, there's a new act similar to the Freedom and the Patriot Act. Well, you on January 1st, you can expect a new act. Go look it up. It's called the Liberty Act. On paper, it kind of looks like they need to have a little bit more directive on what they can see, but all they need is a supervisor to pass on it. But it will further extend on shit that they're already doing. So when you say welcome to 1984, the laws that are being written on the back end, which nobody's really paying attention to, well, some people are, some people aren't. I didn't even come across the Liberty Act until I didn't even see it anywhere on Facebook. I saw it on a back end on a YouTube, a non-channel that was covering it. Um, so, and this is I hate to be kind of weird, but a similar act, the Patriot Act, happened after 9/11.
Right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the
It's
Patriot,
too
I mean,
scripted. And
yeah, lo and
They're
behold,
ready for it.
The Patriot Act, the inklings of the Patriot Act were well before 9/11 had happened, but
We're
it's
not willing to sit at homes ourselves, and they're going to find a way to make us sit at home. That's all it is. They want everybody at work. They want you dependent on them. They want you all to get that chip and that facial recognition technology, pay by phone, however it's going. Yeah, they got us. They just got to do it in a way we don't people don't see it.
I think somebody also says doesn't have gun control on it. No, it doesn't have gun control on it. This is more about monitoring. The way it's written, it's more along monitoring foreign and domestic targets, whatever they be. Um, but gun control is on the agenda. We're already seeing them trying to push the bump stock bans. Uh,
Yeah, they're 15 gone from $250 to $1,500.
well, I mean, this is one step in a larger picture when it comes to losing our Second Amendment rights. They've been gradually trying to do that. Um,
Gunpowder's no good after 5 years.
for decades now.
Yeah,
Mm.
they went and shut down the sulfur mines.
Well, I'm pretty sure if we had a time machine and we could bring back our founding fathers and reiterate why they brought the Second Amendment there, I mean, maybe we'll wake some shit up. But that seems to be one of the rights they want to take away from us indefinitely.
There's a bunch of crazy people here. I'd take it too.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
you get so many people that don't understand what the Second Amendment is truly about. It's not really about the protection of you from your fellow citizens. It's more was written towards it was more written towards protecting yourself against a foreign invasion or protecting yourself against a power hungry
government,
government. Yeah,
our government,
yeah, specifically.
But they're not the
this
terrorists.
government.
They're not the
Yeah,
terrorists. They're not the terrorists, though.
yeah.
So when they
Sorry,
when so when they write the laws that are supposed, this is the funny part that a lot of people don't catch on to about the gun control laws is that technically the way it was written there is that if your government can have if your government can produce weapons like the automatic grenade launchers and the new ones they got the machine gun operated grenade launcher that you can't buy as a civilian. Well, that would be technically be something that you would be allowed to have as a citizen under the way that it's technically if you understand the way why it was written there, so that they could not outgun you and outpower you. But they're turning it more on the laws that we can't even trust our own citizens because they're going on each other, trying to murder each other. I mean, which is kind of true, but you can't all blame that on guns. You're leaning more on a people problem in this situation. It's a people problem, not a gun problem. You take the guns away, um, they're
Yeah,
just.
did they take the swords away from the knight?
Oh no, there will be always be guns. There will always be gas propelled projectiles. If it's not guns, it's
that's true.
knives. It's not knives, it's swords. But there will always be something. People will always be hurting each other.
Yeah, whether it's a hammer or a piece of toilet paper, spoon, or a coffee cup.
uh, Let me see. Semi auto RPG is an example kind of clip in affect the system. See, that's one of the parts of the anti gun laws that I'm not too keen on. To like why. I mean, I'm pretty sure one of my gun nut friends can explain to me why some automatic weapons are okay and then other ones aren't. I think that's referred to correct me wrong. It's a build that comes down to 1994 manufactured weapons or some shit like that. Am I wrong on that? Like, if there was a machine gun that was manufactured before 1994, it's not subject to
Yeah, it
that
was
Mm,
ban. Yeah.
well, there was a
Tech
'68
9,
law.
or
Uh,
there was a type of submachine gun that they come out with that they come out with that law for. I don't remember if it was a Tech 9. I don't think it was a Tech 9. Uh, I couldn't tell you. A submachine gun, mini Uzi, I think it is.
Could
Yeah,
be.
that's what it was. It was an Uzi.
uh, yeah, well, it was. I think the '94 stuff because that's kind of when I was first getting into it heavy was like the assault weapon ban. He had
Oh,
already had stuff against automatics in like 68 or 64. Um, other things back into the 30s even. It's been a progression, but they're constantly trying to take away your guns and make it hard to get them back if they take them away
you know what's kind of
for one
disgusting to
reason or
me?
another.
One of the major players that I thought was cool back in the day, was Change.org, and they are definitely trying to push this shit on this gun control shit. But then once you know more about them, about one of their top guys is uh, he does have some ties to a secret society. Kind of makes sense. Uh,
Really.
yeah, yeah.
Well, now are you
He's a
at
32nd degree
change?
Mason. He's a 32nd degree Mason.
Now, is this the guy? Now, change.org is different than wearechange.org.
Oh, I thought it was.
I thought,
I thought they were like the same exact people.
I don't know. Change.org is like the petition site. They seem more left leaning, but I've seen some good, right wing stuff too come through there. And it's mostly just petitions and activism and stuff.
I
But
th-
We Are Change is, like Luke out of New York and, other alt media organizations doing their thing. I believe they're separate. I could be wrong, but I believe they're
I thought
separate.
they were run by the same people.
Could be. I'll have to look into that. Somebody will.
I could be wrong. Probably definitely wrong.
Now, what was that comment you had there with the Lucas? He said he had a theory about Vegas, but I don't know that we ever went into what his theory was. That was off the comments,
uh,
if it's still there.
let me see, Lucas. It was a red. The guy was a red herring. Um, you know what is kind of weird is those autopsy photos that came in hours after. Um,
Think he was pretty dead.
yeah, that's what I was thinking initially too, and I didn't say anything. Is that rigor mortis seemed to be very apparent, like he'd been dead for a while.
Maybe when rigor mortis was set in like a lot of ways, saying like your body don't even know you were killed is one of the main ways. It's like you got killed, but your body didn't know it. It just hard to explain. I was watching a video one day where a clerk had shot somebody in the head that was coming to sort of rob him, but he wound up shooting him before he got shot, and the man instantly froze and leaned on the counter. When the police showed up, he was still standing there like he was getting ready to shoot the clerk, but laid over on the counter.
Huh.
And rigor mortis can set in a matter of seconds.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I could be wrong on that one. But there was other people that said that they might have just thrown a dead body in there. Um, but
Could be they do that stuff in witness security programs.
I was watching, one of the crazier conspiracy channels, STFU News. That guy seems to be covering a lot of weird angles on the shooting. Um, I mean, I don't listen to a lot of the stuff they say on there, because some of it is like really far out there with like Skynet, the Terminator. I mean, but he does pump out some good stuff every once in a while. Sometimes in the weirdest places you will find some really good source of information.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about with the whole Skynet thing, which he's not completely wrong with the drones that we have
Oh,
flying
no,
around.
no, no. He was actually referring to something that I've kind of talked about, the dangers of AI, but he was kind of referring to AI in the sense that Google was working on an Android robot, and they're already teaching it how to drive and shit. So
Thought everybody was trying that.
probably, I mean, the U.S. military already has the pack dog. I think that thing's got AI, or the what is it? the robot that can carry shit. It looks like a dog.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know somebody. It's got the backward
Oh God,
kneecap
what do they
look
call
to it.
them? It's like a pack mule. What do they call that thing?
He says somebody says the Vegas shooting. How is an Asian girlfriend who runs away to Asia gets $100,000 while we were in at war with North Korea with little fat boy? Hmm. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Speaking of which,
that
that
don't
North Korea is on another part of this. Yeah, topics on this show, but yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that her assets haven't been frozen. Which is typically something you would see in an investigation like this, um, to deter you from doing harp.
yeah,
Somebody said explain harp.
this
Uh,
little thing you play on some music.
we've had a show dedicated to weather modification. God, we had Jim Lee on here, who's like
oh
the
yeah,
expert on
yeah.
on stuff like that. And if you want to go down to harp, there's another one in Russia that they were doing it like 10 years before it even started, called Sura. Uh, but essentially, what it is using high radio waves that would uh, change weather patterns, weather modification through radio waves bouncing it off the atmosphere.
Yeah, be
um,
honest, because it's the high altitude auroral research project. So yeah, they're getting into the upper atmosphere, ionization in the upper atmosphere, so you can kind of tell roughly what they're doing.
well, when
Um,
people when people are saying that you're seeing weird wave-like patterns and large patches of waves, it's probably HARP. you know.
I mean, like heat waves
yeah,
bouncing off the surface of a road during the summer.
I look at these things as like maybe they can't control the weather, but they can trim it a
That's
little
what
bit.
I'm. That's
That's kind of like
I've always leaned more towards that they've leaned more towards moving weather than actually creating it. Like a lot of what I have seen in like real, like true weather modification was the use of actually dumping chemicals. You know.
yeah. Well, now even the like chemtrails can kind of work into that, but cloud seeding is another one. That's a real world, well known technique of weather modification that's been out there for a long time, and they know it works. But it's like you can't create the cloud, but you can seed it,
Yeah.
and that's what I mean. So it's a trim on the weather, not really controlling it in any way. There's too much energy wound up in the planet, in the winds and everything to control it. We
They can
don't.
manipulate it. That's about it.
Yeah, we don't have that much energy generating capability to do much, honestly. But
Not yet. Yeah.
uh,
Not
yeah,
yet.
it's not on the same scale. So if you have an atmosphere that can generate 100 gigawatt, and you can only generate you know whatever it is now, 20 or 30 planet wide, well, you're just not, you couldn't control it. There's no way.
Yeah.
And why would you? It's like, why fight Mother Nature? It's like fighting the tide or
Not only
swimming
that,
upstream.
it has a lot of long term consequences.
Yeah, if you take from over here, if you make it rain over here, it's gonna dry out someplace else. It's just, there's only so much water in the atmosphere, so cause effect type stuff.
How about the California
But
wildfires? Let's send them some water. Everything's on fire that way.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But my
well,
pad, I could see some of those fires going on out where I'm at. Uh, yeah, the West Coast
up
is on.
in
Yeah, the West Coast.
Napa.
Yeah, the West Coast is on been on fire for a while now. But it's something. It's something that kind of happens, this time around the year. I always have my speculation, that out of all the fires they have, there's always one of them that's started by a person.
Always, there's always a fire above.
Where's the kid running around in the forest with the paper airplanes and the lighters?
I doubt a cigarette started a fire that was that big.
I hear my
Yeah,
main
no,
line.
this is kind of odd. This is maybe a few months old, but there was a kid. I think he got in trouble for starting an Idaho fire, by improper use of fireworks, and yeah, no, I mean, and it's like, hey, man, you got to know there's fires everywhere. It's fire season. You got the placards everywhere. It's not like he didn't know. But that guy only got a misdemeanor conviction and like a couple of $1,000 fine.
Oh, you
And
could.
you look at
Wow.
these other ranchers that get, they get charged for like burning something out or something. It's like, terrorist act, fed 5 years prison. I mean, and then this guy actually, had some, burning houses and killing people, and he gets a friggin' misdemeanor, man.
They, pro-
I mean,
they
it's
probably they
ridiculous.
probably wanted they probably struck a deal on the back end so they wouldn't have to ruin his life.
Yeah, if you snitch us out so many of these people selling this, don't say names and address,
We know there was marijuana involved. You're gonna rat out all
yeah,
your friends.
we could smell it. That's what started the fire. I
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if one of those fires started off by the police burning somebody's marijuana field. There's a
oh,
patrol
there you
car.
go.
Yeah, I think Lucas was saying, I guess referring back to the Vegas incident, but there was two videos of gunfire, at least from two rooms on the 9-ish floor. I did see that. The lack of what I didn't see from was the obvious telltale sign would have been bashed out windows.
Yeah, and there was only that one picture circulating around with the helicopter flying by.
I didn't
I
see
believe it was,
that.
and they were like, "You didn't see that?" Oh, I
No.
seen it on mainstream media. I just, I turned on for the weather, and there that was. I was like, "Oh wow, it's a viral picture." I was like, "How many more pictures have gone viral that you're going to show?" And it was only the one with the one window with the helicopter. I was like, "Okay."
I'm pretty sure, 2 or 3 years from now, 5 years from now, people will call us, tinfoil hatters, on, something that happened. But, honestly, what we're saying is leading more towards what actually happened, not the
Yeah,
official story. That some guy who might be a borderline alcoholic on the compulsive gambling and definitely has a gambling addiction. Thinks it's a career on Valium. Probably, I would say. I mean, if you're dosing Valium and drinking, you're probably not all there in the head. Maybe be dealing with some blackouts. It just doesn't seem the motive. The motive isn't there. Like nothing this guy has done. Like you can also go, towards, maybe this might have been some weird sick fantasy, but there would have been indications. They usually people like that leave notes. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
What would
he
really
did.
help that story if there wasn't all these other four shockwave echoes and all these sound files. If that wasn't there,
Oh,
then
this.
the lone shooter scenario would make a whole lot more sense.
Oh yeah, with the audio
That's
analysis, that was pretty
yeah,
defined. Even when the
yeah,
guy when they were showing it up on a spectrometer, with the different wave files, there was there was more than one shooter.
yeah, and that's just the main ones. There was other, there's other like pops and also there's like other things going on too. We're just talking about like three main ones. But see, you call tinfoil hat all you can laugh all you want, but the story we're telling makes a whole lot more sense than the lone gunman theory.
We have a guy in our in Exodus. He likes to play around with dot wave files himself. I might could give him a couple to play with. See what he finds.
pull
It's
up.
easy to do, man. I mean, hell, it's all done on YouTube. And I mean, people have already done it and just looking it up and looking it's like, okay, well, hey, that makes more sense than what I'm hearing.
Oh, that this guy had this guy. They're leading with how they're saying that he might have just had a mental problem, and
Yeah, it's
wife
like,
might
okay,
have left
well,
him, and blah blah blah.
yeah, yeah, that would
They
all
found
be
out his sister
believable,
had
and
a
I would,
kid.
I'd be all for it. If it weren't for all these other things, I'd be saying, well, okay, looking for an excuse why this one guy did it, but it wasn't one guy. We don't need to even that's just you don't even need to talk about it. It's so ridiculous now.
There's a Japanese guy, not one guy.
Eh, this just reeks of CIA fucking fuck up. I'm sorry.
Well, no, no, no. Here's the other thing that doesn't add up to me. You've got it demonizes every group that's there was allegedly Antifa literature there.
And then they
It's
retracted that. Remember when I was talking about the amyl nitrate, and then that went off of there, and then all of a sudden not sorry, amyl nitrate, ammonium nitrate. Uh,
AMFO, yeah.
yeah, was coming back up.
Let's see what was the other ones. Damn it.
There was also a lie about when he was there. They were saying September 28th, but then the evidence was showing to September 25th. So he was up
Yeah,
there
and
for
then he
five
was
fucking days.
in another hotel about a month earlier, across from another music event at another hotel in early September. Maybe a
That's
dry
the best.
run or just checking things out.
Oh, that's the best time to sell
Um,
guns.
Another thing that has come into question over this whole event was the amount of they're saying that they're not really. I guess the ATF was really unsure of of this delay of 4 minutes. I guess we have a 4 minute delay going on here on some platforms.
Golly,
Uh-oh.
that much?
Yeah, I guess well, we don't stream directly to Facebook now. We use a third
Yeah.
party service, and then it goes through there so that we can stream to other places at the same time. That's kind of weird, or maybe it's never been that much. But okay, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, that the amount of guns that he had acquired because they were unsure. Now that might be another way for them to weasel out. Like if you buy 4 or 5 guns within a 30-day, 90-day period, then you're gonna have a knock on the door from the spooky government. Like what are you doing with all these
Mm.
guns? None of your fucking business.
They're going to limit you to 3 per household.
Well, no, we're arming ourselves against you guys.
Yeah. You shoot first, yeah. Excuse me, sir. You have any guns or knives in the house? Yes, it's the home.
Yeah. Hey, how many guns you got in the
Yeah.
house? I got 50 of them. Is that a problem?
I got one that's belted and shoots 135 rounds a minute. You want
Hey,
to try
like
it out?
hell, I open up my soda can with a pistol.
Yeah, a cop pulled us once. He was like, any marijuana in the vehicle? I was like, no, you got any for sale?
Disa King says they're getting lazy with their false flag, not even shocked anymore. And I was, Disa,
That's right.
I was even talking about, the way that the laws are being written in with the new Liberty Act, that will turn around because it's supposed to replace a directive, I believe, which was within the Patriot Act, something called Article 702, which will now be the new Liberty Act, January 1st of 2018. I think because it replaces part of the Patriot Act that expires on December 31st, 2017. So you will,
Uh,
what I see is some sort of new conflict, some war, something weird. Like how we had WMDs with Iraq. I mean, it's kind of. What's going on with Trump. and I'll bring this back to what we are trying to talk with Kim Jong Un or Kim Jong Il. No, Kim Jong Un. Sorry, my bad. I always get those two fuckers mixed up.
Well, he's
Um,
ill, all right.
is that our the department, the Secretary of the State is saying one thing, and the president is saying another. I know full well that the president has this board of advisors to skew things, to skew things up a little bit. So, the left hand's not doing what the right hand is saying. I wouldn't be surprised if there was an active conflict in that part of the world that just kind of popped out of nowhere. Uh, might not be North Korea directly or somewhere around there, but then eventually leading towards there. Um, um,
Well, this a little bit different, but you know who was happy about Kurdish independence was the Israelis. They're looking at this whole Kurdistan thing as like a second Israel.
yep.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Second Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. They got plans, man.
Well, the
They got
Iraqis,
big
the
plans.
Iraqis don't like them. Yeah.
Nope. Yeah, because they want part of Kurdistan. If this whole thing about creating a Kurdistan means a lot of these other stands have to give up some land, right? That's not going to go well. Uh, so yeah, it's going to be a problem.
How much of a
And if they
military?
like it, something's up. It's like, hey, well, why would that have anything to do with the Israelis? That's not in, it's in their area of the world, but it's not like a
Yeah.
big concern for them. It's like, why would they be so into this? What do they got? What would be their interest?
They got a new partner. They got a new partner in that part of the world that's closer to Iran that have a bigger military disposal at their whim. You know,
Yeah,
the better, the
yeah.
more, the more buddies you got out there, you can pay to be on your side, the better.
There you go.
Oh, that's how it works.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's like I need to get a job.
You need to get a job.
Yeah, that's how we do it, right? I mean, we create ISIS and then we arm them, and then we point fingers at them like, look what ISIS is doing when you're the guy arming them. I mean, does
Yeah,
anybody really buy that? Just so it'd be the same thing here. If the Israelis arm them and they do the fighting, is that really? It's just same. It's the same thing.
You know what's kind of funny? That I was
They
doing some investigations on ISIS and ISIS stuff that comes out of the news. Like, okay, so I've done a lot of searching on the darknet and on Twitter feeds. Where I know that they're verified ISIS accounts. Okay, all right, and I'm not gonna say where exactly they are, but there are still is ongoing operations. Within the ClearNet that still go on this shit. But where exactly is the news and the media getting their information saying that ISIS is claiming any of this shit? And it's
well,
not.
that's a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
was gonna say. I
I
was gonna
keep
say.
hearing that over and over,
I
but
was
yeah, I
gonna
haven't.
say that on all of the stuff that I know about those ongoing operations, you really got to dig to find some of these things. And I don't. It's not like they got an official. Hey, this is the official Twitter of. This is the official. Dot onion site of ISIS. You really got to dig for this shit.
Hmm.
So I'm kind of wondering where they're getting these claims that ISIS claims this and ISIS claims that. Then, other than it's a lot of it is psyops created by our countermeasures created by I don't know, just kind of thrown out there by
COINTELPRO,
yeah.
FBI,
yeah.
COINTELPRO, CIA. Well, this goes back to my thing with
Well,
the
they're gonna.
Antifa literature and then this Muslim connection. And what was the third one? Well, there's some other links to, potential, patriots with like through the guns and whatnot. Okay, so it seems to demonize every group, which is odd. You think it'd be one way or the other, but this is conveniently seems to have literature from damn near everything and links everybody that they seem to have, that the government quote would have a problem with. You
Yeah.
know, that's what seems too convenient about it. And then they say the ISIS link. Okay, if
Well,
there's an ISIS link, well, it has to be this Filipino woman who has, who seems to. She was just a common law husband of this guy. Apparently, she's married to two other guys, one in Dubai, and I want to say another one in Europe. So it's like, okay, this has shady written all over it. She has to be the Muslim connection, in this whole ISIS link. But
well,
then it just kind of, you notice it just kind of dies there. It's like they throw it out there, and then you don't get the rest of the story. Like, okay, well, where did that come from? You're saying it, and I can see where that would be if I read through the lines and I attach her to that equation. But they don't say that. They don't. They just throw it out there.
Yeah,
I
like
don't know,
who
but
could we blame it on?
right now, what seems to be going on through the feeds is that they're trying to make ISIS into this big joke, which is going to lead up to the next terrorist organization that'll pop up, which would be directly influenced or funded by us. You know, the lone gunmans or whatever the fuck they're going to name it this time.
Well, I remember some videos before ISIS that they were sitting there saying your government is training us to kill you. Be ready and watch this. And as soon as all that come out, you see all these attacks happening around the outside of Israel and Jerusalem towards all these other countries.
And you got to remember, this is a slick plan too, to not only use these people in these foreign countries, but now attach them to attacks in the U.S. How convenient! Now you've spent decades creating this army of evil over there for our enemies that now maybe you're really using against who is going to be your real enemy, and that's the people of the United States.
And they
You
keep
didn't
coming
see
in
that
as
one coming.
refugees. Didn't a whole bunch come in as refugees at one point last year?
Yeah, and you got an open border with Mexico. And I mean, if somebody wants to come across, it's not really that
It's not that
hard.
hard.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
actually say that it'd probably be easier to cross the Canadian border than it would be the Mexican border. No, I'm not joking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if you really wanted to go back and forth, I mean, we know that happens for, because of other industries, something
I
that has
believe
to do with BC. Yeah.
up until recently, I believe the border check-ins from the Great Lakes were I believe they were voluntary up until recently, within the last few years.
Hmm.
It wouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, I had to say something about walking across the lake to Canada during the winter, didn't I?
You actually could
Yeah,
2 years ago. 2 years ago, yeah, you could have technically walked across Lake Michigan up until you
uh,
technically could have. I don't know if it'd be safe though.
were you running guns or rum,
Yeah,
Mike? What
you.
was
Rum,
it? Rum.
rum,
Okay.
going for Tim Hortons and maple syrup. We'll call it maple syrup, okay?
Here we go. RT is covering this shit. Is U.S. preparing for another round of military exercise in South Korea? Knew it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there we
It's
go.
just yeah, whatever, man.
You know what I was hearing? I was hearing on some underground papers that we actually were doing back in Cyber Command, trying to knock the North Koreans off of their cyber end, and other web pages have kind of verified that might actually be true. Um, but did you hear? So did I talk about this anywhere in the show about this North Korea hack that seems to be popping
Yeah.
up?
Yeah,
But
you've mentioned it before. Yeah.
yeah. But apparently, to the source, this hack happened uh, 2 years ago. From the initial report, it just seems like everybody seems to be kind of ignoring the fact that wasn't a recent hack. That was old, according to the
Hmm.
according to um, the original report to BBC. At yeah, Reichi. I don't know how to say any of these names. What? What? Just to delay this fake war that we're gonna have with North Korea. I don't
North
know.
Korea. North Korea actually has a pretty good hacker team, Hidden Cobra, that's
Well, they
doing a lot of
jack.
stuff.
They've been. The North
Oh,
Koreans have been involved in several internet heists. One was a bank heist that happened in China. I think they got away with millions. And there was also the BitThumb hack where they got I believe it was upwards in the tens of millions jacking money from the BitThumb exchange platform. I mean, if your government sanctions are that bad to the point where you got to start jacking other countries, I mean, I'm not saying nothing, but I'm just saying that that tells me you got a fucking income problem within your own country.
well, that they do.
They can barely
You
feed their own
know,
people. I mean, everybody in Pyongyang, when they show everybody like happy dandy, in Pyongyang, that's just like one part of the country. Like the rest of their country is just starving, but Pyongyang is filled with the elite, of the country. Most people aren't that rich. Most of the people that are rich in their country work for the government.
the only fat guy I see in North Korea is the leader.
his wife,
Honestly,
his wife's getting there too.
is she? Well, he's got plenty of mistresses to chase around, but still, he's a chunker, man.
Kim Jong fat boy, fat rocket boy.
Fat boy.
I don't know. I don't really
Give
see him as like a real threat. Like
No. Oh,
No, give him Dennis Rodman in a basketball and let him go.
that's been the solution all along. I mean, they get along for some reason. Just send him back over there.
I
Maybe
mean,
Dennis,
Try to
maybe
figure
he,
out why he's so butthurt, and then let's move on. Yeah.
maybe Rodman got the best weed. Yeah,
well, do I believe that they actually have thermonuclear warheads? Yeah, but not to the degree that the stuff not the kind of nasty stuff that we have. You know, is he capable of probably nuking? Yeah, Japan, China, or South Korea, of course. But
it don't make it over Japan.
well, he's always said Guam when he says U.S. shores. I think he's always referring to Guam. You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
close targets.
yeah, yeah. To send an actual ICBM missile, they would have to essentially make a rocket that could go up into the outer limits of space, and then have the warhead come back down to re-enter Earth, and that would be the way to do it. But not like I was watching documentaries on missiles in the last few weeks.
They just slap another stage on there. How fucking hard can it be, man? It's a two-stage rocket. Make it a three-stage rocket. I mean, even the North Koreans ought to be able to figure that out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only one way to do this.
It'd have to be a large missile.
I wouldn't say it's not rocket science because it actually is, but
Yeah.
they ought to know that.
Yeah, and even they were talking about similar to just like Iron Shield or Iron Curtain, whatever the fuck it's called, the same thing the Israelis have. Once you
Iron Dome.
Iron Dome, yeah.
Yeah,
Once you start having missiles that are leaving the atmosphere and then re-entering, you start having more problems with systems like that. Because well, that was the way I was looking at a lot of the documentaries is that they were having some systems that would have duds, like at least dozens of duds that would also be launched in some of these warheads, and not
Yeah,
knowing which one is the real live one, which would kind of like a flares would be to a missile fired at an F-18. You drop enough flares, the target's not going to know which one is the right one.
Yeah, it forces you to shoot a whole lot more rockets. You can't get them all. You're not
Yeah.
going to get them all.
Nah.
And then if you do hit one, all you're going to do is spray a bunch of radioactivity everywhere. It's like, okay, it didn't blow up and blow you up, but it just contaminated everything.
Yeah, and they were saying if you don't get a if you don't hit like a rocket that's like if you're not trying to get a nuclear warhead that's trying to go across the world that's going at it that way, essentially if you don't get it at the weakest point, which would be when it's trying to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere, essentially it'd be even more difficult. It'd be like a bullet trying to shoot a bullet, you know, which is almost impossible. It's
Yeah, it's not
possible.
easy.
It's not easy, but it's
Yeah.
impractical. Almost impossible. But yeah,
Yeah, I
apparent.
just don't see North Korea being a big deal. There's other people that are Russians. Okay, you got to keep an eye on them. The Chinese for sure. That's a real enemy. You got to keep an eye on them. Uh, really. I mean, anybody else. I mean, we dwarf anybody else anyway. And I don't see the threat when you're spending as much as the next 10 guys combined. It just doesn't. There's no way you're being threatened.
Well, what's funny is that now they have these sanctions. China's not doing business with them. Russia's doing back end deals with them right now. They just boosted their internet capacity as well. Now that wasn't
Wow.
going. Yeah, they have
Well,
to happen after the talks where Tillerman. Yeah. So when that talk went south, I guess when they went to Russia, Russia said they would help them out. Boost up their internet. So now I guess now instead of being at 1 megabit, now they could be at a 10 megabit connection because I guess they were piggybacking off of a connection from China. So now they're using Russia. Yeah.
They're
well, that's very
piggybacking.
provocative, isn't it? I mean, shouldn't we declare war over that? I mean, that's
Well,
outrageous.
what's funny is that like
Isn't that our new thinking? I mean,
with all the shit we do with Russia, U1 is a Russian company, a Russian uranium company that's within our own borders.
oh yeah, well yeah.
Yeah.
If you want real Russia collusion with Hillary Clinton and the previous administration, but we can't seem to talk about that. We're all talking about this
Russia.
year-long false narrative, pushed by the New York Times and the mainstream. That's hey, that's great, man. You guys are right on top of it. I don't know what you're on top of, but you're on top of something there.
I think it's the Democrats.
It's just
No, it's the Republicans. Come on.
Well, both sides of the same coin, but
oh,
specifically the Democrats.
well, this is how dysfunctional they both are. You hear about this about McConnell? He pumped like $9 million into the counter campaign. This guy that just won the election, he had money. Mitch McConnell,
Uh
they are out of touch, dude. They just, the end of the corporate good old boy, present, system. I mean, people are tired of all this shit. They can't even pump in that kind of money and win anymore in a smaller election.
oh, that was weird. My internet just hooked up as soon as we were talking about Russia.
Russia, Russia, Russia. McConnell, McConnell, McConnell.
Triggered.
Yeah, we're gonna find out the trigger word here. Was it CIA, CIA, CIA?
Country music.
Vegas. If I say Vegas too many times, is that a NSA keyword now?
And we got to check my pressure cooker on the stove.
Oh no,
Oh
that's a
yeah, watch
Boston
those.
bomber. Bomb. One of the
Yeah,
key words.
Yeah,
is it? Don't you have to have a permit for those now, Micro? Isn't that on the list?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Putin
That's
is
I mean,
my
one
it's
bad.
thing.
surprising. I mean, it's surprising. I mean, why didn't the Democrats come after pressure cookers? I mean,
Yeah, those things
seems
are.
like the thing to do if you got a problem with pressure cookers blowing up.
No more than 90
Yeah.
pounds.
Yeah, they can only be so big. You only get quart size. You can't go 2 or 3 quart. That's just way too big. We're not going to let that happen.
The
Two
logic of the
screws, not
policy,
eight.
the logic of the policymakers doesn't make no sense.
My favorite part of the whole Boston thing, even there's people that got hurt there, but it's just like why you needed to like shut down a big part of Boston and put a bunch of jackboots on the street to find 2 guys.
Yeah.
And then if you remember right, all those guys, they didn't find him. It was somebody else who went to check his boat that found the guy hiding there. It wasn't all those guys that had thugging everybody, pulling people out of the houses, and fucking with them. It wasn't those jackboots that found the 2 guys. It's just so, Keystone Copish. It's just like, what the fuck, man? Is this America? It's not the America I grew up in. I'm sorry, man. I'm a little bit older, but
Yeah.
my God.
I don't know. I grew up with what was it? Yeah, Bush and his crazy NWO speeches. I do remember that very vividly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's like as American as apple pie, right? The New World Order. I mean that's in our founding documents, isn't it? Wasn't that I don't know what amendment that was. I mean, that it was in the last parts there about how we were gonna, the ultimate goal was a New World Order.
Yeah.
And they managed to put it
Where
on. They managed to put out enough money after the establishment of the Federal Reserve, but it was not on any of our greenbacks or anything. He put I don't remember any of that.
No, it's
And the
totally
history
illegal,
and the
totally
and the
unconstitutional. But that
history.
doesn't stop these criminals.
Yeah. So
New
is
World Order. I mean, does that even sound right? It's just like, wait a minute, I thought this was America. What the fuck is this New World Order? What the hell's that?
well, it's an international banking cartel that wants to have political
Yeah.
political domination and government domination of everything that we have. You know,
Yeah. What could possibly go wrong if we get rid of governments and we just have a corporate structure, which is, bottom
protect
line oriented, right? They don't give a fuck about you. What could possibly go wrong with that?
pure look if you study the
I,
pyramid scheme, everything goes from the top. No, it's like
yeah, it's always trickle down, isn't it? Trickle down
a trickle
economics.
down. Yeah, trickle down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Trickle
just
down
it's
effect.
very important to give the rich guys the money first, so make sure they're taken care of, and then and only then will we let a little bit trickle down to you, the slaves. That's what they're telling you in so many words. There just doesn't seem to be any way to give it to the little guy first, so then you could maybe buy some products, and then the big guys would get their money.
They can't even
It
get their
takes a
shit together. Look at Greece.
it takes a little money to make a little money. That's for sure.
Yeah, Greece is so bad they're selling parts of Greece.
Well, the truth is, it takes a little money to bribe your government officials so that you can really make some money. That's how it works. If you want to get on board.
And then when shit goes wrong with their fucking plan, the EU doesn't do anything. Like what happened in Catalonia.
Yeah.
Goddamn. Today was a shit show in Spain. I don't know if anybody was watching. I was watching them, so I thought I was gonna watch. Catalonia declare their independence today. Only a few U.S. channels were covering it live, from what I saw. I mean, I kind of looked around. But yeah, so that's not what happened today. I remember hearing initial reports that they might even arrest the Catalonian president, and
A California, a Spanish government official had called for the execution of the Catalonian president.
I didn't hear about
So he was,
that.
yeah, he
But
was under a little bit of pressure.
well, he might
But
have.
but hey, that's his job, man. I mean, you're the one that went through all this. You got everybody to vote. You got everybody all wound up. So finish it off.
Well,
Except one thing happened. he's a coward, and he
He
couldn't
backed down.
quite
Yeah,
get there.
he backed
You know,
down.
when it counted. I mean, what a coward,
That's
man!
what happened.
That is
Yeah,
so pathetic.
yeah. He backed down and said that he would repeal the vote referendum or the independence referendum and to open up dialogues with Spain. And I was just like, what the
Like,
fuck just
yeah,
happened
whoa,
here?
yeah, really.
And then and watching the preceding speeches to the three parties, whatever the fuck they are over there, talk. It was almost like watching a WWE WWE. You know when they're talking, get shit against each other. Oh my god, it
The
was
SmackDown,
it's
yeah.
smackdown with words. Yeah, that they said that the Catalonian president was afraid of having a nationwide vote, a legal vote to declare its independence from Spain, and I'm like, well, okay, like they kind of did have one. I don't, but apparently it was illegal against the Constitution, so I'm not sure what a legal vote would entail for Catalonia to become independent from Spain.
Man, this is like the classic double talk from true
Yeah,
cowards.
yeah.
That's what that is. You know, they were all for it until the kitchen got too hot and it was time to be a man, and now all of a sudden it's a problem. That's what's going on. The people are all right with it, but he's just not ready to be a man and a true leader. So we have to, go through this procedure of, you know,
I was
of
expecting.
going against the vote that was obvious. The 90% of people, voted for it, even though, with Spanish police help, they weren't quite able to get everybody into the polls. But that was,
Yeah,
you know,
they're just beating the shit out of everybody. You want to vote? Fuck you. And I guarantee you, this is you will see if something like that happens in America, you will see something even worse.
well, they got away with it there. See, that's now that that's happened and they got away with it, and it really didn't ruffle any feathers, did it? It didn't ruffle the Spanish feathers. It didn't ruffle the EU or any of the eurozone. Nobody seems, nobody's getting excited, you know. So hey, from now on, all you voters, we just kick the shit out of you. Whenever we're voting for something we don't like, we get to kick the shit out of you. That's what happens from now on.
Yeah. I'm wondering
It's
if this. I'm
incredible.
wondering if he backed down. I was talking about those two banks that had left Catalonia. I'm wondering if this money train is threatening to move out. I thought it was over there, but
Well, what I'm hearing is the Catalonia banks have thought beforehand, and they'd already moved out of Catalonia. They've got auxiliary banks so that they keep their banking going. If Catalonia actually broke away, you could still have Catalonian banks acting in Spain. I mean, this is all very cliquish, isn't it? How you're able to do this if you're the big guys. And that in that way, if they went under or they tried to seize the banks, well, you really wouldn't be seizing anything because they're not really there even now.
yeah.
So yeah, the big guys,
Doesn't Spain still have a
it's
king? They still have a king, right?
yes, and he was not happy about all this. He was what did he put? It was he had a statement after that vote that it was some word and then disloyalty. So you Catalonians, you're just being disloyal to your king. You know, you're being disloyal to your true leaders who don't give a shit about
Well,
you.
we actually we really
Okay,
nobody really
that's
does give a shit about the kings after the Magna Carta. I thought that was a big kind of fuck you to all the monarchies.
no. Well, in words maybe, but in true fact, they still run the show through the bloodline families are pretty much the royals of Europe.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, there really
But
is no reason why the kings and queens are around in some of these countries other than it.
oh, other than to tell you no when something like this happens, it's like no Catalonia, you're not free, you don't get to leave, you're under our control. See, that's the deal. You know,
As
all,
long There's only one bank that's left that looks like Sabadell Bank. That was 5 days ago. I'm looking at some of this
I
now.
was looking at some of their stocks. Apparently, their stock market was crashing today.
Hmm.
And that's kind
Yeah,
of
that's the
crazy.
other that's the other trick they'll use to scare politicians.
If you don't, if you
Yeah,
don't, if you separate from Spain, it'll crash the stock market.
yeah. It works here. You see how the cowards are when it's just like, oh my God, it's dropping. It's like, well, you weren't getting all shaky and acting weird when it was going up uncontrollably 100 points a day. That was fine, you know.
Yeah,
But if it goes
going down
down,
6 or 800.
Hasn't Trump been tweeting about that the last few days? The stock market's been going. It doesn't go up indefinitely. Somebody crashes it intentionally.
it's on a big run here, pretty much ever since he got elected.
And what that won't last forever.
Uh,
No, it's a little getting a little extended. But it's just the problem we have is it's so easy to scare our cowardly politicians anymore that you are never going to get anything done. These people are so cowardly, they don't stand up for anything at any time. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it on the Second Amendment. They're not going to do it for any of the amendments. Your Fourth Amendment, the Liberty Act, Patriot Act, whatever you want to call it. You know, they're done, man.
Well,
They're done with all that.
well, they're actually in the process of taking away our Fourth Amendment rights. I mean, as I was talking with what is it? This is a technical one. HJR 76, I guess, which was passed in August. Uh, which technically only applies to trains, but yeah, they're in the process of taking away our Fourth Amendment rights.
oh, what is
Yeah.
it? Travel passenger.
Something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
probably Greyhounds, bus lines.
Well, specifically,
Well,
this HGR 76 only applies to property around metroways and around the
Yeah,
DC, Virginia area, but which technically DC has its own set of laws different to the nation technically. Um, but
that's true.
it is true. Yeah. But
yeah.
this would be one more step into taking away our Fourth Amendment rights. And with each addition onto what was known as the original Patriot Act, you can just see your rights gradually go one by one. The disarmament of the United States citizens, the militias. Sooner or later, protesting will be a crime, yada yada yada, and then don't be surprised when they come knocking on your door.
Well, you got to be careful what pronoun you use in California now when you refer to transgenders because it's against the law. If you use the wrong pronoun,
I,
go.
Pronoun.
No, no, man. The governor just signed this the other day. This is real. I'm not
what?
making that
Uh,
up.
oh, no, you're not. It's just funny because you say pronoun. Oh my goodness.
Wait, so what? So what? You can be crime. You can be charged with a crime if you use that. Isn't that a violation?
Yeah, for you.
Actually, you know what? Technically, there are laws that even overbound our First Amendment rights.
Yeah, so there's your First Amendment. So you don't have a First Amendment. If they can define your speech, this is the classic final, final ending. They've got you. If they can define speech for you, you're sunk.
Well,
It game over, man.
technically, yes.
Yeah.
If you want to go into the aspect of if you say certain keywords to people in law enforcement, which technically you have the right to do, or you say something or some select words to another individual, you can be charged with a crime, which would be a violation of your First Amendment, which technically you have the freedom of speech and press, you have the freedom to say what you want, but really in actuality you don't when it comes to the courts.
Yeah, communicating threats and stuff.
Yeah. And actually, there's even with the addition of the Patriot Act, you're actually do have a loss of press. I believe, God, there was a underground press, and I was even big into this in the early 2000s. Thoth Press had to go out of business and now you can find a lot of their books on the underground, or on virtual PDFs. But apparently, it's against the law to tell people how to manufacture weapons, clandestine weapons, uh, and drugs and stuff. And that was something that Thoth Press was mainly doing throughout the 70s up until the early 2000s.
Yeah, anarchist cookbook.
That's actually the Jolly Roger cookbook. I don't believe they were on Thoth Press, but there was some famous underground writers such as was Uncle Fester, and
Mm.
God, he was a big one with them. He still produces his books. Oh, most of them are the clandestine chemistry, making drugs, but there are a few books that he had made on how to manufacture weapons. Yeah, but I believe they got a nice letter from the federal government saying that they couldn't produce books like that anymore.
You have to learn how to DIY other ways.
There's always videos. You always find everything on the internet.
Oh yeah.
Well, the best ones are all these old manuals that are like improvised munitions, special forces munitions. I mean, the military puts out the best ones. Those are the best ones to look for. Forget all this other shit, Uncle Fester. I mean, go straight to the. I mean, if you want to know how to make this stuff, just go straight to the source. I don't know why people. I mean, it's free too. It's all on their website.
Chemistry is around you guys, and you can manipulate chemistry to make weapons.
Yeah.
Mentos and Diet Pepsi. Come on.
Hey, we need to get that. Like the old cartoons, we just need that catalog from Acme. Remember that? I mean, Acme Company is great, man. I mean, they got all kinds of shit.
Facebook just kicked me from the video. Chris, it might be,
What?
uh, it might
Did
be
I
because of the
trigger
subject.
something?
Yeah, it might be because of the subject nature that we're talking about.
Mentos and Diet Pepsi. Oh my goodness.
But today,
Oh,
kids,
I'm sorry. I
today,
said it
kids, we're
again.
gonna tell you how to make explosives from Pepsis.
Oh God, yes, it's explosive. There you go. That was it.
Imagine what this is doing to your stomach. Hot rocks and Dr Pepper. Don't drink it.
Oh God.
actually, some of the most explosive shit you can make, is right in your household. Yeah, you'd be surprised. What else we got to talk about? We got the Catalonia, Vegas hacks, Liberty hack, North Korea hacks again,
I,
HGR
I
76.
had another one here.
Oh, the drone
Uh,
hack, right? But that was an old article.
yeah, that's it. Predator and Reaper drone hack. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that was going on during the Afghan. Well, I think that happened in Afghanistan where they were. They had used. I don't remember following up, but yeah, they had managed to hack a Predator drone.
Well, the Iranians stole that one. Remember when they flew it to the ground? They took over the GPS or whatever. They actually landed the thing.
No, I didn't hear about that one.
Uh, yeah, boy, that goes back a ways. That might be 5 years. Uh,
Right
I
around,
want. I mean,
right
I'm
around,
clicking on the link.
right
Well,
around.
this one just came out October 8th. This last one here. Um, let's see. Get out this thing out of the way. ARS Technica. All right. Let's see where this goes. It seems to be fairly recent. Keylogger payload. They know it's in their networks. They don't know how far. It's in the war zone. Oh, this is great. Oh, damn it.
Yeah, apparently they had hacked it, I guess, using a keylogger, right?
Yeah, it looks like it's a keylogger. My thing just barfed here. Can't get to the
But if they
damn
had a
story.
keylogger, they would have had access to the initial server, which means that the great security we have at our defense, yeah, the DoD has, which is retarded. Security is a myth. Uh,
Well, dang, can't get to the thing here.
um.
Try this again.
So Antifa's gonna kill us all on the 4th, right?
Okay.
That's what they
Don't
say.
do me any favors.
Oh God,
Come
really?
on, yeah. Only you no favors done.
All right, guys, prepare for the shitty psyop war going with Antifa on November 4th, the day before March. We'll see what happens. A lot of, I guess there was a lot of, I was talking about this before, that there was a lot of um, signs being posted around. I've seen some of the stuff. I don't see a lot of communicate on any of the social network platforms. That doesn't mean they're not communicating somewhere else. On some of the lesser known channels. But there's somebody dumb enough to have a chat room on Facebook. I swear to God, it's only a matter of time before I get invited to one. I get thrown in the weirdest. I get thrown in the weirdest chats sometimes. Like, who the fuck are you guys?
Who added you? I don't know. Who added you? That's when you know they're fixing to get rid of you.
What's up with Antifa and Anonymous getting along? Well, I mean, if you want to get to Antifa at its core, I mean, there's a lot of Antifa at its roots are communists. They were started in the 30s, if I'm wrong, right?
Yep. They were the answer to the National Socialist brown shirts, was the anti-fascist communist. Because
Yeah.
communist, fascist, kind of at their core, don't really agree. They both want control is the problem, and they duked it out. The Nazis won, but then most of those guys who were in the, because they all are more or less on the same mindset. They just kind of joined up with the Nazis anyway. They were just looking for a group to join up with. Really, I mean, whether they're in control or they got to join up with some other group that's in control. They don't care. It's
Well, it says
same.
why don't you share some of the same principles? Uh, well, I'm not. Me personally, I'm just not.
Well, some people do. I mean,
I mean,
ARM and I mean,
there
he
are some.
pops in. I mean,
There are
he's
some.
pretty much on board.
There are some people within the Anon community that are, but a lot of us. I'm not on the same boat. I don't believe in senseless violence on random bystanders. That's just me. I mean, if it was redirected on an institution, or if it was redirected on something else, but just beating the shit out of random people. I don't know, destroying stuff.
As
Yeah.
soon as
Well, how
my
does
cow
that
game
take?
quit. Oh.
I mean, I'm not saying that some of the stuff that Anonymous has done on the back end, doesn't have the same effect, but on the cyber end, but no, I don't know. It's to each their own, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's where you're starting to cross over the line. If your excuse for violence is I don't like what you're saying, that's pretty weak. Because that's not typically how you get to. That's not defending yourself against anything. Fighting in a defensive mode. That's creating a phony offensive reason to beat you over the head.
Yeah.
That's got to be some psychological name for that. But
Well, we'll
I
see.
mean
We'll see
that
what's up. We'll see
that's
what's up with uh, um, we'll see what's up with this November 4th thing. I think it's a crock of shit.
Yeah, the only thing I'm seeing is allegedly Antifa getting military training, essentially using um, Antifa related, ISIS links with the Kurds and a few other groups. As far as maybe a strengthening of their skills going on in certain teams or whatnot.
Oh, we had that
But
undercover that undercover video that was filmed by a comedian where they were trying to get weapons. You know.
yeah, that some of them look like kids. I mean, I'm sure that it's going on. It's just that, well, I don't know. I just that seemed, of course, that's at the grassroots level, which is a problem. But this is more, when you're talking about them linking up with ISIS and all the rest of this, like, well, wait a minute, you're falling into the DoD CIA
You
scheme,
might as
man.
well just say that Anonymous is CIA. I get that a lot. We are a
Yeah.
psyop.
Well, no, I mean, I don't see that.
I don't see it either.
I really don't. Hackers, activist hackers. I
Who's
mean,
to
are
say
are
there
there
isn't one or two?
are there some? I'm sure there are. Well, we know one, but you know, how many? What are they doing exactly? I,
Yeah,
I just,
anyone.
based on the numbers I've seen and what they do, I don't see how they think they can take over a revolution. They can't even get a good beat down of patriots going. When everybody shows up. So it's like, how are you going to take over the fascists and the cops and
Yeah,
the government and
I
all the
was gonna
rest of
say
it?
when who has big numbers, is and I don't necessarily agree with them is the Oath Keeper movement. They're huge
Well, yeah, on paper, uh, that's true.
and they're armed, but to get them to do anything is
Yeah.
to get them to do anything. I've tried to get them to cooperate on certain shit, and they're kind of in their own little bubble. You know.
Yeah, it's they do activate on certain things. Uh, it's a different group. True, they're armed, but it's a lot of law enforcement, ex-military.
That was what I ran into. Yeah.
So I mean, so in general, you're not going to see them being interested in like doing working with Antifa against the government. I mean, you're not going to see that happen in any way. Uh, because they're pro-government, if anything. They might want to change it, but they're not that anarchy type, burn it down and then build something up. They're more, get it back in a reset fashion to where it's supposed to be. A reboot of the Constitution, if you
Well,
want to call it that.
that's never gonna work. I mean, if you read like I've referred to this book,
Uh,
it's called God. I'm having one of those stoner moments. I've been clean for a long time. What the fuck? Must be old age. Oh god.
it was that last drink. It killed that
The
connecting
yeah,
brain
the brain
cell.
cell.
Yeah, it's the last
Refresh
synapse that you
memory.
needed.
Oh god. It was fuck. A survival guide. The Fall of Empires and a survival guide.
Uh,
Which was written by Sir. God, what the fuck is his name? Anyway, it's a short read. I think it's only like 45 fucking pages, and it describes the fall of empires. And basically you can't revamp. What's going on. You'd have to kind of let it fall apart.
that seems to be true. Yeah, it eventually gets so craven and decadent and despotic that there's just no saving it. And we're probably about
We're
in
on
that spot. Yeah.
we're on that.
Be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, we're on that. Um, that path, But I believe shit's just gonna get a lot worse before it gets better, you know, a lot worse.
Yeah.
It'll be slow and gradual.
Well, Well, if we don't bankrupt ourselves before that point, that's another possibility. Yeah.
Well, well, this debt limit. I mean, we're getting up to like 125% of debt to GDP. I mean, we're getting into some real dangerous territory. If it continues too much longer, odds are that you don't survive it financially. That's true. There's all kinds of statistics for that already.
Yeah.
Not that our geniuses in Congress would know anything about that. They don't seem to know history. They're certainly not going to stand up for anything anymore that's important.
That's kind of why I
All right,
started back to school.
Jen is saying, would you say that we are in a revolution right now? I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
really hard to say. Do I see a lot of the a lot of the stuff building up to it?
Oh
We're
yeah.
in a
Yes,
war of
yes,
resources.
yeah, but I wouldn't say technically we would be in it right now.
No, I
We
mean,
are with,
as
with
far
all the
as us,
protests.
yeah, in the U.S., I mean, there's no big, large scale fighting going on. Now, the indicators that are showing you that you're on the verge of it is a 10% approval rating of Congress. That's a huge red flag. That's you normally you get into the 30 to 40% range. The government's going to have problems, but hey, ours is at a 10%, and I guess our media is just so good propagandizing that we're actually convinced somehow that things are still great, even though nobody seems to like their government. What is it, 5 or 10% trust of mainstream media? So basically, nobody that knows anything is buying the bullshit. It's just that, it's not going from that disgust and distrust into any kind of action right now on any large scale. A few more of these Vegas's incidents. Hey, if you do that to a Black Lives Matter group, there's going to be an uproar from hell, man.
Yeah.
You can do this to white people apparently and get away with it. There's not going to be nobody. Hey, there's a concern for a few days, whatever, a week, and then that's about it.
Yeah,
It's
they
just
move
another
most of the
shooting.
major media has moved on to the.
Yeah, we're
Excuse me.
missing the significance of what this thing really was.
Yeah.
The false flag nature of it to get this yet another bill passed and all the typical crap.
Oh, now we got the
You know,
Liberty Act coming in, and
yeah,
that's going in on the 6th, and getting activated on I believe it's the first of next year. So
yeah, got to rush that in real quick for some
I mean,
reason.
is it technically related to what was going on over in that false flag? And sorry, I'm about to sneeze again in Vegas, but no, but neither was a lot of the shit that was going on in the Patriot Act. But they just sure to slip this one in within days of uh, of the shooting. You know.
Yep,
Oh, I found the PDF.
it's a classic.
I'm gonna read
I mean,
that.
the way it looks on paper is that there has to be more authority on what they can and can't, do based on some of the writings. But I just need to do a lot more research on somebody who's studied this back to front to back. But from what I was watching, reading from somebody's opinion on besides reading what was actually written there, is that basically a lot of loopholes in what is written there, and it just further extends what some of the other acts have done.
Yeah, and all that is bad enough, and even that gets thrown out when you get labeled as a domestic terrorist. Then they can do anything they want to you.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I got an X on a flight list on
Yeah,
by my name.
that's
It's short. It's 2 pages. There's background, summary of the USA Liberty Back, national security investigation, criminal investigation, prevents government abuse of unmasking U.S. persons, 702 database, strengthens protections of civil liberties, increases oversight and transparency, protects national security. It's, yeah, Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which is set to expire December 31st, 2017.
Yep.
Yeah, kept it short and sweet. That's the nice way of saying we can do whatever the hell we want, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's yeah.
But I was also hearing, that this would also require, I mean, technically, this would require phone providers to hold your logs of everything that you've done indefinitely. Um,
You know what? Here's what's going on, Tyler. All they're doing is coding. They already built the NSA complex that's doing all this. They're already logging all your shit and have been for a long time. All they're doing now is coding what they're doing into law to make it look legitimate and legal.
yeah.
That's all that's going on.
Remember before? I
Uh,
mean, remember before any of this shit was going on? Remember when God, remember when what was it? AT and they were the NSA was going through AT&T's data, and AT&T just kind of like gave it to them. Remember that? This was like the early 2000s.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Then it was a whole string, and there was like a whole bunch of companies: Microsoft, Yahoo,
Yeah.
Google. They all got on board real quick, and after that, it was the avalanche. It's like, oh well, hell.
Oh yeah.
I mean, all the big guys are there anyway.
Well,
That's
Google's
90%
on
of the
board.
market, and
Yeah. Google and Facebook are on board on that gravy train as well. They comply.
yeah,
Especially with Google
yeah.
Earth and Google Maps, you will also see on Google Maps there is, and even on Google Earth, there's a deliberate manipulation of some of the images on certain places within the world.
That's true.
Yeah,
That is true.
Napster. Napster even around?
Napster?
I want to
Really?
say they are, but it's not what it used to be. It's like just a relic of a site.
And didn't that get bought
Yeah.
up by the Backstreet Boys? One of the Backstreet Boys bought that shit. What the hell?
Oh,
Justin Bieberlake?
No, Justin Timberlake, or whatever the fuck his name was.
well, the other guy bought MySpace. What was his? Ashton Kutcher, right? So he's in there, but that's not Napster.
I used to Napsterbate, man.
Man, that was great back in the day when they were around. I used the shit out of that.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then there was a
PC
shotwave
allocate
machine.
C allocat C rigs. Yeah, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but with a screen name like that, Facebook might make you change that one. Yeah.
Hey, I got somebody turned me in for saying the spelling of my name was against Facebook terms and conditions. I had to send those bastards a freaking ID the other day, or else they were going to lock my account because some asshole turned me in for
Oh.
the spelling of my name, which is my real name, by the way. It's
Yeah.
like, what the hell?
Just giving you a heads up, PC, because I've had numerous accounts where I did have the faked. No, I'm not even gonna say it how I get. I'm not even gonna say. I'm not even gonna say how I have my ways of keeping accounts up that shouldn't be there, and everything lines up to the T. But they would say that the spelling of the names, I can't have names spelled like that. And I'm like, okay, even if the ID says so, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, the good news is I've been okayed by the Facebook team. My name is not against their terms and conditions.
Well,
I I was so glad to hear that. It's just like I
Oh
needed to hear
my
that.
God, you have succumbed, and you've done so well that you're allowed back in the Facebook community, Preston. Did you see what they did? Did you see
Yay!
what they did to the other Thor? Oh my God! So we have this activist. Actually, I even mention him here? Like maybe. Well, anyway, Thor is another activist, not the Thor that we know. There's another Thor. He is an anon. He does do some controversial activist work. I do support most of the things that he does. He yeah, he can't keep a Facebook profile up because of his political views, and he's outspoken about what he does.
Well, he's having trouble
Yeah.
now too, huh?
I
Yeah,
know who he's talking about.
yeah,
You
the
could
weed guy,
Well,
yeah,
it's only a matter of time, man.
yeah.
you could see him on Facebook going through talking about, but you need to check your own user terms and agreements. Somebody actually screenshot that one there, the little Q&A section where you ask Facebook a question and they try to reply with a little bot.
For the record, I am clean to the comment to the person whoever said that we're always talking about getting high.
What?
I've been clean for a few
Who?
years.
Somebody's getting high watching this or
I guess
listening?
so.
He has a problem with Tyler's free speech.
Well, I
Free
mean,
speech.
if you want to go into it, I mean, drugs and culture, society in general. We've done a show on that, and I can go all the way back to shamanic values and the history of man. Yeah,
Yeah,
apparently, Richard, we were
yeah.
being interrupted. I am seeing a weird hiccup. I've upgraded everything on the back end on here, but every once in a while I will get a flare up, which shouldn't even happen. Not on the connection and the software the hardware that I have right now. So I'm even on an 802.11 AC connection. So technically, I could, from where I'm at to the connection point, I can technically get up to like 1.2 gigabit, which is like way exceeding even my bandwidth on the back end. So I don't know. I really don't know unless packets are getting dropped. I don't know. Maybe I said too many keywords today.
Yeah, we're kind of on a roll, which is okay. I mean, if we're going to get black flag, let's do it right.
I'm on Google right now looking at the list. I think some people abbreviate these words.
Yeah,
Crock pot,
that's
pressure cooker.
but as what I was talking about before and all these policies, what's going on between now and when they get implemented, I just see another. Oh, there we go again. There we go
What?
again. It's being interrupted.
Somebody said, "Oh,
Yeah,
I'll behave tonight."
yeah. Having some flare ups with the connection. It seems. Set a big packet
Hey, do
loss.
you have that? You have that banner ready? The technical difficulty banner, is that ready?
Oh, actually, I do. Hold on.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait, hold on. Wait.
no, let's do this right. I mean, if we're actually having
The
technical
funny one?
difficulty, then
Oh, no. There we go. Are you there? Oh, did I lose everybody all of a sudden?
I'm
No,
here.
I'm here.
Oh, that was so strange. I lost everybody for like a few seconds.
Damn, that glitch is getting even worse.
Wow.
Oh, that's crazy as fuck. Oh, that's crazy as fuck.
What's
Oh
going
my
on?
god, that's a new router. That's supposed to be unhackable. Oh,
Uh huh. What are you getting injected with a unicorn?
I hope.
An
Hey, dude.
unhackable router? I mean, really, is there? That seems like that would be the first target of. I
Uh,
mean, that's like a
uh,
Somebody's Bitcoin
that's a
mining you.
challenge.
oh well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you laid it out there like pork chop to a pit bull.
Oh, that was crazy. All of a sudden, there wasn't any audio loss. There was. I couldn't hear anybody.
No, we just got quiet.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that big event happens. I guarantee you. I don't know. Call it a bad prediction, but I'm pretty sure something will happen. Another false flag event.
Yeah, they're all but well, they're calling for it. Number one, I mean, the number of stars and people that have said kill Trump. Well, you got what's her face, Kathy Griffin, holding his cut head with blood all over it. That was somehow that was palatable over television. Only if you're a Democrat. The talk show hosts, I mean, congressmen, they're calling for it.
Yeah.
And they don't get in trouble. That's what's amazing. That's like next level. It's like,
Well,
it's
not only
one thing
that.
to say it in a meeting at a back smoky meeting somewhere, but I mean, you're saying it in front of cameras and shit now.
Well, didn't even Trump said it gets calm. It's getting calm before the storm, and then they asked him to
Yep.
reiterate what the fuck that meant, and then he didn't say anything.
Yeah. Yeah, he's trying to tell you.
Yeah, he's letting everybody know. They always have.
That's pretty clear to me. I mean, I get it.
He's like a 3-year-old. He can't hold a secret.
Well, and that was, yeah, wasn't that announcement
Maybe he's
kicked
not
out?
trying to. Yeah.
Wasn't that an announcement kicked out as he met with all his military leaders? So there's another big clue. Oh, I get it.
I don't know, man. I don't understand how an idiot like that even became a president. I mean, there's been some stupid ones, but yeah,
Oh, it was
he's
Facebook ads from
he
Russia that done it.
he's got the stupid card.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just jealous because he was born with not a silver spoon, a gold spoon in his mouth.
That is true.
I mean, I am too, honestly. I mean, look at who he's married to and all. Holy crap! If you could marry a Eastern European porn star for a wife, I mean, that
Did
can't
you
be
see
all
his other
bad.
wife? His other wife has just had a book deal.
Oh, is she going to tell all? I love hearing the dirt.
I think she
Yeah.
just did come out with a book. I think she says she still
Oh,
calls him once every 2 weeks.
holy cow! You got an ex that calls you? Holy.
Yeah, she says she talks to him about his tweets.
Oh, Ivanka,
She don't like him either.
the ex? No, she referred to herself inappropriately the other day as
As
the
a
first
second,
lady.
as second first lady, yeah.
It's like, what? That's a new one. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, our first lady was a
Eh,
porn star.
Melania wasn't too happy about that. Yes, I have a really nice picture here somewhere. I'll send to you in the chat. Almost forgot I had that.
Must have met her through Hugh Hefner.
Hey, who are we going to place Hugh Hefner with? There has to be the next guy in line that's ready to go with the program. How do we keep that whole thing alive?
Oh, David Hasselhoff. He has to be the next one.
David Hasselhoff, really?
Yeah, the
Oh,
Knight
come on,
Rider.
man.
Yeah, the drunk.
No. We'll let Preston do it.
What am I
Preston's the
doing?
president. Elizabeth president.
I, yeah, I don't. I'm not. I don't think I'm bloodline related anyway. Probably going to be a problem there, but
Neither was Trump.
I'm all for it. You better check. He is. They all are, Tyler. We've gone through this before. They all are. You don't get to go there unless you're one of them.
Oh yeah, you're related to the king or whatever the fuck that is. That the king of what was he?
Merovingian.
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh, well, the Bushes are House of Windsor. Um, I've seen the Trump one, the Trump and Clinton lineage. They're very close. They're related, by the way.
So are
The
most
Bushes,
people.
the Clintons, the Trumps, the Obamas, and the Cheneys are all related.
I thought technically Obama wasn't even a U.S. citizen.
Born in Kenya or some shit.
Yeah, he was Kenyan.
Yeah, Malik Obama put out his
Birth certificate.
Kenyan birth certificate. Yeah, it's been scrubbed since then, but it was out there.
uh,
I've got it saved on my PC.
yeah, despite all the
Hey, it
evidence.
looked way more official than that other 9-layered fake document they posted officially on the website, the White House website. That was a fake.
They're like, wait a second. Do you mean this guy has been working his way in politics? He's been in this country his whole life, and he's not a citizen? Nope. Well, we got to fix that. We just got to forge some documents.
Yeah, we're not doing it.
Damn.
Even the rules to become president are retarded, or be anybody in politics. You can't commit a felony, right? That's one of the requirements.
Yeah,
I don't know
you
about
can't have
that.
misdemeanor or felony. They don't want you to have any kind of criminal record. They
I,
want you to
I,
have a clean track record of marriage. You need to be married.
yeah, but then again, that wouldn't apply to Chicago politics, since everybody's been in prison. Correct? Am I correct?
I
That's
No.
a
don't know. I'm
good
trying to
question.
think who. I mean, a lot of them had problems as they exit office, but I don't remember any on entry.
Yeah, that's true.
Uh, Not that,
But
like, even in
yeah,
Clinton's case, I mean, there's all these allegations, of course, that go way back into the 80s, but, with all these people, but they don't come out till later, maybe.
That's stupid. This stupid rule. YNBD. Any on Teach Me Hacking. YNBD. First of all, I would recommend changing your screen name. That one's probably not going to fly with Facebook. Also, if you're interested in hacking, all of the resources you need, including the operating systems, can be found on the internet. Wouldn't just a heads up. Probably wouldn't recommend using a Windows box. Go towards Linux. uh, probably probably should take some classes. You don't even really need to go to college to learn a lot of this shit. Yeah.
yeah. Practice at the house. And you can find an online certified class.
Well, it wouldn't hurt to take some computer classes. Even some networking classes to understand how computers communicate with each other. You know.
Yeah. Well, it'll help fast track through college a little bit if you don't have the option to pay a full tuition for a college. And it'll help you get a job, and most jobs will help you get that.
I get that a lot. Can you teach? Can you teach me?
Teach
If
you what?
I need a teacher, I
Good
mean,
luck. Yeah, it's self learned.
I guess Lion. If you really want a teacher, there are plenty of groups that you can ask. You can ask that on Facebook.
You have to self
Hey, man,
learn
there's some good
anyway.
stuff
Oh,
on YouTube. I mean,
there's
it's all.
well 2600. The 2600 group is still around. Black Hat International is still there. Black Hat International will tell you the same thing that I'm telling you. Is that all the resources that you need are pretty much there. There are step-by-step tutorials on YouTube. I would tell you half of them are fucking garbage. A lot of the guys don't. Yeah, you know as well as I do. Some of the guys, they're all doing it behind a local access network. They're not doing anything beyond the WAN.
Yeah,
So
be careful what you watch on YouTube.
yeah, I mean, if you don't
It
understand the
does
difference
need some
between
legit source.
LAN and WAN, then you need to start studying a little bit.
Hey, and do it on your home system before you go attacking,
Well,
and
yeah, I mean
figure if
that. Yeah,
I mean, look into everything before you go outside for sure.
yeah. I would say that DDoS attacks have gone towards the wayside. Uh, now with
Have
this new
two
cloud,
computers in your house.
Well, now that the new Cloudflare, unless you're going out making huge botnets, I would say the days of even remember the Dyn hack where somebody deliberately attacked a DNS that was supporting like three major social media platforms. That was a fluke. That was a fluke. It didn't have Cloudflare. That was a fluke.
That was a luck shot, huh?
That was luck. Yeah. Yeah. I still.
Well, how about well, what is it about Cloudflare that's allowing
Well,
them
you-
to
you're gonna
be
need enough punch to get through 64 gigabits worth of data. So your packet, the way that you need to hit this is that the limitations of your let's say you maxed out your packet speed. Let's say your maximum you can go is 100 megabit, right? Well, you got to get up to the 64 gigabit level just to punch that website. So
hmm.
I'm leaning more towards like a botnet network. No, it's not impossible, but it's not practical. Once websites go to Cloudflare, not every website's done it, but
Yeah, I don't see it. Just certain higher profile ones seem to have it,
it's true.
or more targets.
Either that or using
Yeah.
mitigation, which makes it even harder.
Now, isn't there like an ethical hacking course that's online? Isn't that pretty good? Like a 6 or 7 hour.
Yes, they are all over the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good place to start. And
Yeah,
Education to Go is a good one. I use it.
the Cybrary.
Library, yeah.
Yeah, we lost some people now that we're talking about computers.
If you're looking for coding, try W3 schools.
Well,
It's
I
there, and
would say
they'll even
yeah,
certify you.
yeah. If you want to be a really good hacker, you can also probably look into some programming languages as well.
Well, we actually have a bot that works with us in the Discord app for programming languages. It does a lot,
Oh yeah, that one,
apparently.
that one, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I forgot about that. There is a little a DDoS function on one of those ones. I forgot about that. Yeah,
and it does
it's
Python, Perl, HTML 1 through 5, Python, uh, SQL, SSH. I was like, wow. It does at least 25 different command functions.
yeah. I would say most of the best hackers are mainly not script kiddies. Yeah,
Yeah,
you better want. Yeah, you might as well just start learning a programming language
yeah, you're better off to build your own tools anyway. There's no telling what somebody has in a tool they built anyway, as is.
or backdoor it,
Yeah,
or, or have something really malicious like
have a Flying Dutchman.
You hear about those? You hear about those? Yeah, I was gonna say. I was gonna say. Remember
Straight up.
those weird. They were using them on hack tools from Python scripts. They were
Uh,
not only were they were functioning like the hack tools that you wanted, but they were also doing malicious shit to your machine. You don't know about that?
no,
Mm-mm.
I
Just
didn't
like
hear
yeah,
about
yeah. I
that
was
one.
gonna say next time you're using weird Python scripts, just go through the script.
I had to try it through the box.
Alright. Let me see. Do we have anything else?
I can't think of anything.
Me neither.
See what we got on Twitter.
Oh, we got on Twitter. What's going on Twitter?
AVB's on Twitter.
Yeah, we're on Twitter at ABB Live.
No.
We're also on YouTube at Anon. No, we just got our custom URL from YouTube. It's Anonymous Worldwide. We're also on Twitch TV at Anonymous Bites Back. I think we're also on Instagram. I'm not sure who's in control of that one. We're somewhere on Instagram.
How about Steam It?
Yeah, that seems to be the one I've kind of like.
People are catching on to that one. That seems, some other folks are pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to look into it eventually, but there's the fact that there's money involved in the Steam power and stuff like that. You have to
Yeah.
rethink a lot of the stuff that we do. Because you're not supposed to be making a profit off any of this stuff.
So I got a quick question. What does Harvey Weinstein have to do with the Democrat Party?
Wasn't he indicted with like kiddie porn?
He's got a lot of allegations from top Hollywood actresses, inappropriate touching and threats and whatnot over the years. And then he's got some others that stand by him. But he's a big. There's pictures of him chumming up with Hillary and all. He's big time politically motivated and plugged in.
I heard he was given the boot, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah, he
he's
says he's
fired off the
already
board.
being
Yeah,
rebranded.
he's a pedophile.
Or
Or somebody made him out to look like a pedophile.
well, maybe I mean if some of that's in there, it looks like it's mostly just problem with women, over the years. All these well, not just allegations, but cases and court cases and payoffs and settlements and so forth. So, uh, hey, you had that over at Fox. What O'Reilly? Um, shit, who was the other one? They got rid of another guy for something here not too long ago. There seems to be a rash of it going on.
Oh, they're not going to fire him. He's going to be rebranded for a comeback as an epic rampant hero, repentant hero. Excuse me. Oh yeah, at least they didn't give him a dick in a box.
Dildo in a box.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you lose your money or anything. It's like it's a disgracing and whatnot, but
You'll be back.
it's like, hell, yeah, you're old enough. You can retire and go on and do your political activities or whatever you're into, man.
It'll be like an
Forget the
Anthony
rest
Weiner.
of it.
It'll be an Anthony Weiner. He'll be back in a week.
Wiener.
Oh my
What an
god.
appropriate name for that guy. Well, I guess when
He
your last
finally
name's Wiener,
he finally did get busted with kiddie porn.
Yeah, he's getting 15 years, isn't he?
I
Yeah.
think it went down to 2.
What?
He dealed it down to 2. That's the last I heard. And what was the other part?
He's giving a blowjob too.
Bubba.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, when your last name's Wiener, man. I mean, life's going to be tough. And he's a short, skinny dude. So I mean, it's just that much tougher.
I bet he got beat up a lot in school. Name like Wiener, man.
Imagine his name in gym class. Wiener. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, everybody, you get a little chuckle. Everybody kind of chuckles. Oh yeah. It's real funny.
Yeah. Sure, he was in the Navy at one time. He was known as Seaman Wiener.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I know a
Yeah,
guy
remember
who
remember
was
when he
in
was
the.
with when he was I heard this rumor that he was with some underage Thai prostitute or some shit. Yeah,
Oh wow.
this was a while ago. I guess this shit, that that guy was just I don't know if it wasn't going to happen to him with the kiddie porn, it would have been something else. But he's just it was fairly obvious to me he was going to get busted doing something, you know.
Yeah, I guess well, you got to remember Houman Abedin was his wife, and she's tied in with the Clintons. So you go to too many spirit cookings or satanic masses, maybe this is just what happens. I mean, and I keep telling people, man, you make those kind of choices, shit happens.
Yeah,
Don't they?
Spiritually, yeah, like a big joke.
I was gonna say, yeah. Whatever happened to that lady that cooked shit and that she was making the paintings and the feces and all that shit? She's still doing that shit. She didn't get
Well,
it.
sure, man. Yeah, why not? I mean, there's not too many people that do that. I mean, it's a niche market for sure. But yeah, she's high end. I mean, you see all these pictures, Lady Gaga. I mean, all the big stars and all these big wheels are going to it. All the it, it's Hollywood, man.
Yeah, but I don't I know it's Hollywood, but
Uh,
that's even weird for Hollywood. I'm like, man, like you go into this fucking party and there's like there's a lady inside of a bathtub, fully alive and human blood, and there's a little kid at the party. You ever seen that picture?
yeah,
There's a little girl and she's staring at the one naked lady in the bathtub, and she's like
yeah,
inside in blood, and this is a normal Hollywood party, right? Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
Hey, well, if you're gonna,
you know who used to talk about weird shit like this was Corey Feldman about
uh,
weird shit that used to go on in Hollywood.
Oh, sure, there's weird shit goes on in Hollywood. That's some weird fuckery.
Uh,
Sorry, no offense or anything. Yeah, everybody's a little weird, but Hollywood's definitely got to have a standard.
yeah, well, it's gotten so outrageous. I mean, if you're not like bisexuality was with it. It was, pushing the envelope. Now it's transgender. If you're not transgender, you're not pushing the envelope. I guess if you're not a Satanist, you know, bathing in blood, you're just not trendy.
yeah.
It's hard to stand out in a in a world of psychos like West Hollywood. I mean,
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
Even Brad
well, they all
Pitt's
seem to.
Remember Brad Pitt's ex? Remember Angelina Jolie or some shit? You know, she was talking about that weird ritual and shit. And there's a phone recorded from a friend and all sorts of weird
Mhm.
shit that goes on in Hollywood. You know, in relation to that, and a lot of people, try to tie it into the Illuminati, but I would definitely move it more towards a different secular movement that's been around a lot longer. I'll tell you that. Yeah, Lady Gaga. I know. Remember, even Alex was talking about that. A few days
Yeah,
ago. I listened to him for the comedy, but sometimes it does spit some truth. That is that
yeah,
Lady
he did
Gaga?
pretty good on that one.
Yeah, Lady Gaga. Has been reported that she has to have somebody in her room because of the. I don't know. I guess she says that there's. I don't know. I don't even want to go down that road, but she's saying that there's some bad stuff that happens at night, right? Because of all the stuff she's involved with. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be a vessel for demons and stuff, I mean, it kind of goes with the territory. I mean,
well,
if you selling your soul to the devil, I mean, what do you think's going to happen?
Yeah.
well, what's the deal with Bohemian Grove and Getty Grove? I mean,
Well,
neither
Behe-
one of them you can really drive through or drive to.
Drive up to it.
Yeah,
well,
looks like
Bohemian
yeah,
Grove.
pretty much that.
Yeah, Bohemian Grove is in Northern California. I haven't
Yeah, I
Right
heard.
think
by.
it's a meeting place where, in basic terms, where a lot of super rich people who've got control give the marching orders to people that are a rank below. I think that's really, they meet and they talk and they do all this cremation to care ceremony and all that. That's just the occult shit that has to go along with it. As part of the whole package. But you see these meetings several times a year, like Bilderberg, Bohemian Grove. There's a few others. About every 3 months, that everybody's checking in, getting their marching orders, making sure everything's, you know, making sure that steamroller of tyranny is rolling along cleanly.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I don't know. I was just under the impression that Bohemian Grove was only. I thought it was once a year though. But I guess
Yeah,
maybe
they're once a year. Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah,
between
for
all the
2 weeks. Yeah, but
meetings,
it lasts about 2 weeks here. Then you got the annual Bilderberg group,
yeah,
which is like once a year. But there,
yeah,
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 there are others. Yeah, you are right.
yeah. Well, they're all about freedom too. I mean, they bring in a lot of hookers, a lot of little boys. There's some good
Well,
jobs there. At the camp. I mean,
specifically at the Bohemian Grove, it's male hookers.
well, yeah. Well, I mean, we don't want to discriminate, Tyler. Let's
I
come on.
mean, no, I mean,
I mean, we need to get.
predominantly
Yeah.
from what I hear is that they are bringing in male prostitutes from San Francisco and bringing them into what is it, Sedona or Sedona? Yeah, it's NorCal.
Sedona.
I'm not familiar with some of the counties
No.
in
Oh,
no,
Sonoma County, maybe.
maybe.
Yeah. Well, once again, hey, this is California. In order to be trendy and cutting edge, you have to stay out there. Not too many people have a 40-foot owl that they pray to. That's pretty unique,
And do a mock human sacrifice
right?
to an evil spirit that talks
Yeah, yeah. I
talks
mean,
in.
I mean, how many cremation of care ceremonies do you know that are conducted just anywhere other than
Hold,
Bohemian Grove?
I
I
was gonna
mean,
say, hold on. Let me go down to the Satanic Church and let me go find out. Let me go find out these
It's just
statistics.
cake.
Yeah. How do you guys have a cremation of care? Oh yeah, man, we do that every
yeah,
Thursday.
yeah, maybe at the Satanic Temple. Well, they got one there in L.A., so it should be, it's fairly close by,
Yeah,
so that shouldn't be a problem.
I
If you had
got.
to get to one
Well,
quick,
there's an
but
OTO. There's a few OTOs out here. So
yeah, man.
yeah, I was
So let's have.
I was just completely surprised Alex got that one wrong. I mean, there was a lot of he was. It's not Magul.
You still argue that, don't you? I don't know. I, I know. I remember hearing Moloch in the Bible.
Or
It's
not
not referred to
Molech, yeah,
as
but
much
Molech,
as
but yeah, but
Moloch.
Molech has never been
But is
represented by an
that,
owl. It's
yeah,
always
is
been
that what that is?
No, it's not. Yeah.
Well, this is kind of a weird owl. You can see that spooky kind of look. He's got a kind of a hooded.
Well, yeah,
It's a hooded owl or
even
something. It doesn't
I
look
have
like.
I have said it. Other people have said it. It's either leading to a couple of different deities, or either the biblical demon, female demoness Lilith, but which would fit a lot of the what you're seeing in the ritual, but not necessarily all of it. So it could be a representation of another deity.
Yeah. But even, I mean, we can argue what it is, but let's just be real clear that if you're going to a cremation of care ceremony and worshiping some owl, that's not going to church on Sunday. This is very different than activities that
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
the normal Joe is into, and the cremation of care and everything. And hey, if you're banging a few hookers and porking each other in inappropriate holes, that's okay, man. Yeah, this is America. Nothing, nothing to be seen here. Move along, and just because it's your public officials and rich elites doing it, it's just they got more time on your hands. See, if you weren't so busy working, Tyler, dude, I think if you could get into politics and you had more cash to just explore, I guess that's what we'd be into as well.
Dude, I'd be out there with like the
I,
first guy the first guy to fly a drone into the fucking Bohemian Grove. Oh man, if I had some extra cash, I don't even care if I got another fucking case. I would
I
just,
mean,
Wow.
I would totally fucking be up there with a drone.
So now 90% of California sex offenders are no longer required to register.
Wouldn't surprise me.
well, no, because they
Huh.
they lowered it to a misdemeanor. You don't get a felony anymore for knowingly spreading HIV in
HIV,
California.
yeah, but you can
Yeah,
still do it for you.
Wow.
Yeah, but you can still get.
that just passed.
Yeah, you can still pass Hep C and all that. I think it's still a felony.
That's a murder charge in some states.
Well, it should be if you knowingly do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You bet. I mean, but this is California. I mean, it's the world of the inverted.
Well, yeah, they also have politically correct bathrooms here where they don't, there's not male and female bathrooms. There's female and unisex.
And there's some cool people in California, but there's some fucked up shit going on.
The government's taken over. Yeah, I mean, it's just they've decided that they don't like the United States of America. They may as well break away. Honestly, I mean, you guys are going down a totally foreign path here with all these activities.
And at each their own, but yeah,
Yeah,
kind of
weed's
makes.
pretty much legal, right?
Hey, yeah. Uh,
Well, that's like the one thing they got right. It's all the other things the Democrats do.
was that
That's the problem.
Oaksterdam in California? Oaksterdam.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't
Oh,
know
the
if they're still around. They were
Oaksterdam
good.
University. I haven't heard about that shit in a while.
Yeah, they got raided a few times, and that was like cutting edge for a while.
Come learn how to grow
Oh,
weed at Oaksterdam
oh, this is
University.
legal marijuana. We're seasoning
uh,
it. Ben and Jerry's.
Let me see. Lilith is Jewish mythology, not doctrine, mainly old wives' tales and spoken passed down through legend. Yeah, she was Adam's first wife, but would not submit. Yeah, I'm familiar. Yeah, with the
Uh,
alternative version of Genesis as well. Um, um, yeah, and then the story goes on where she mates with that angel Samael near the Red Sea. Then there's some variations of that story, what happens after, and then she's described I believe, in the normal Old Testament, in as a screeching out. But Brittany, there was as far as old wives' tale, there was, as far as history remembers her, uh, 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 God, she was blamed for children's deaths up until,
hmm.
God, ancient Persia took her seriously as well. If you want to get the wives' tales and folklore, like walking on her ladder. God, I believe up until the disappearance in there was 900s. There was a gap up until the 1300s because there was the reversion of the Kabbalah and then the disappearance, and then comes back into with the revival of the Kabbalism. So uh, I'm fairly familiar with the history of that.
What I think I see a lot happening is like a resurgence of, well, the shamanism that bother me so much. It's these more of the occultic and satanic stuff in religions that are coming up. There's a suppression of Christianity and normal, type religions, and an increase of
The occultism.
the occultism and Satanism.
Well, I would say that if you want to get all biblical, there's like stuff like, I don't know. If you want to get all biblical, Judeo-Christian, it does say that the churches would be false. I don't know.
Well, it's interesting because it's not like you're getting rid of spirituality. It's like you're exchanging,
Well, one hand for the other, yeah,
one for another. Like
yeah.
different gods in a way. That's what's kind of weird to me. Like, well, okay, it's like you're not Satanism isn't necessarily the elimination of a superpower. It's just a difference of belief in what that superpower is.
Well, if you want to get like
Uh,
really really into the basics of modern Judeo-Christian values, there was a weird towards the canon. There was a weird incorporation of some of the paganistic values. I believe it was where you see evidence of that is with some of the belief in the saints and um, God, another one is the Trinity, right? Am I wrong about that one?
Oh, the triune nature of the three being one. Yeah,
Yes,
that
yeah, that was
is.
that was another that was because there was a lot of a weird incorporation where they're trying to get the pagans to convert.
Yeah, that's why the Islamic always say that they're the ones that only believe in the one true God, because we believe in this triune
Well, the if you want to get, I mean,
system.
if you
You know,
want
and
to get
that's
into
like, well, you
history,
can't have it. You know,
I believe that it was the Quran wasn't written until 500 A.D., but the beliefs were there before that. So, or the
hmm.
am I wrong on that one? The canon was around 300 A.D.
Well, it all goes back to
Well, for
Mesopotamia.
Christianity,
Yeah, yeah,
that was
yeah.
325, the
325.
Council of
Yeah,
Nicaea.
yeah.
Yeah,
Then you have references from the Quran to Jesus, so obviously it was written after that.
that's like a different cultural viewpoint of, the stories are a little bit different. They
Yeah,
match up well.
yeah. And a lot of the characters you see in the Torah or the Old Testament, you will see in older civilizations such as the Sumer and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's funny how religions kind of mesh into each other.
yeah. It's almost like they
It's all the
stole
same
ideas
thing.
from each other.
Or they were the same
It's
thing
a,
to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah, there's, one empire you've got dying, so you just kind of pick up their stuff and
Well,
merge it into
I believe
yours,
it was a
and
story of Noah was also written on the tablet of Gilgamesh. Yeah, am I correct?
yeah.
Yeah, that,
yeah,
yeah, or similar.
yeah. There's the final battle.
Yeah, who knows?
They seem to have that in common.
We'll probably never know. We'll probably never know how they're all related.
The Space Brothers gave it to us. That's what I think.
Oh, from what Stitchkin, the fucking oh god, Stitchkin, whatever the fuck his name is. Oh god, the Nibiru guy, Stitchkin.
Xenu.
That's no. Stitchkin was the
No,
guy who
This is a
translated.
different set.
No, he translated.
Zechariah Sitchin.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
translated the. God, what culture was it? Not Akkadian.
Sumerian, wasn't it?
I think it was Sumerian. Yeah.
Or Akkadian, AKK, Akkadian.
No, I think it was. I think it was. I think it was Sumerian. Everybody think a lot of people think he translated that shit wrong.
But there's stories, that you could see the outline of the same old stories
Yeah.
being passed along through the cultures, through the empires.
Well, you got Mesis.
It's
You got Mesis in the Egyptian culture, and then you got Moses, and then you got who else? Uh, yeah, they kind of do blend within between the different cultures throughout time. I mean,
Yeah, I've got a
let me
book
see
here
Lilith.
somewhere.
I think Lilith was at one point referred to Inanna or Ishtar, Babylonian
Ishtar. Yeah.
Ishtar. Yeah, yeah.
I've got a book here. I never finished it, but it's called "The World's 16 Crucified Saviors Before Jesus," and it
I
details all the cultures that before the Hebrews that had that same views. This goes back to like Mithras worship in like the pre-Roman, and the Greeks, and that's essentially a Christ figure. A lot of similar stories.
I believe the Zohars.
So
The Zohars were before the Jews as well, right? And they're still around. Yeah, they were.
Yeah,
I'm getting a
yeah,
shake. I'm getting a shake from the head in the room. Yeah, they were. They were
yeah.
after. Okay, we'll debate that one after.
Yeah.
She might be right.
Save it.
But even the Hindus, I mean, you can actually go older there, with in Sanskrit.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, there's goes back further. Vedic.
Hey, speaking of weird owl-like structures, remember I showed you that one about the layout of the actual behind the White House? It looks like from an aerial view. You see?
Regarding what?
Remember, it looks like an owl.
Oh, in the outline of the sidewalks or some shit.
Yeah, yeah, that was done. That was done deliberately. Yeah.
Yeah, they like to do that in some of these kind of Illuminati strongholds. They've always got the aerial view where you can look down, like Nazca lines type stuff.
Let's see, owl White House.
Well, there's the incompleted pentagram in the design of Washington D.C. itself.
Yeah,
There's an
yeah.
align there's an alignment with the star Sirius between the White House, the Washington Monument, and what day of the year does that hit? But anyway, it falls from the White House. You see the uh, how it lines up astronomically. Um, it's all built in.
Yeah, there you go. There's the White House with the owl.
It's what is it, like Masonic astronomy and Egyptian mythology mixed together.
Yeah. You ever seen that statue of George Bush with the Mason dagger?
Oh yeah, he was from. He might have been Skull and Bones like way back.
George Washington, were they back? Were they back then?
Well, George Washington was a Mason.
Yeah, I knew he was a Mason. I didn't know if he was Skull and Bones. So I didn't know they were around that long.
Well, yeah, I think the Illuminati houses, the irregular lodges, came later.
Yeah.
Well, they've been around, but yeah, there's they run the show now.
God, I'm kind of out of topics for right now. I'm kind of getting tired.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got
We
good. We went 3 hours. That's pretty good.
Yeah. All right. So I
I think
guess
everyone's happy.
yeah. Thanks for everybody tuning in. We'll have some updates throughout the next few days about what's going on, and thank you for tuning in. And we'll roll out with the credits.
You know how to
All right.
find us.
Thank you.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly. I order all those assembled to